Hello again, many thanks for joining us. Preliminary investigations by the National Disaster Management Organization has revealed between 200 and 300 people, homes were destroyed by high tides that pounded the coastline of 17 communities. To the Deputy Director General of NADMO, Seji Saji Amedonu. Now he says a little over 3,000 residents have been displaced. Distribution of the much-needed relief items have now started as affected residents are scrambling for them. Maxwell Alaba is at the community center, which is serving as a shelter at Ketu in the Keta municipality. We cross over there now to Maxwell Alaba.
Yes, Ernest, this is the community center here at Ketu, and as you rightly mentioned, this is what is serving as the new home for some of the residents in the Keta municipality who have been displaced. Some of them tell me that they count themselves lucky because they've seen the situation in Salakope in the Ketu South municipality, where some of the affected persons are using churches as a shelter. In fact, some of them tell me that they saw the story yesterday about how some of them had to wait for a church service to end before they could lay their mat and then sleep. They thankfully do not have to go to that ordeal, but they tell me that conditions here really are not the best, but as it stands now, they would have to endure it for the time being as their homes are flooded. Now, this is what it looks like here. On my left-hand side, you can see these children just finished eating, and I'm told that they got some food from some benevolent person, some good Samaritans who brought them some rice from the Emancipation Beach Resort, and that is what they sat on the floor to eat. In fact, where they are sitting is not too far from the flooded area. It will be difficult to see it because that place is not well properly lit, but it's just about 50 meters away from where we are standing. So this is more or less like the island where they have some kind of relief. Behind me is the community center, and many of the people here, women especially, had to prepare dinner here. This is where they prepared supper. And you can see the coal pots there in the background. You can see the cooking utensils also. Some of them are finished eating, and this one is actually preparing jollof. Yes, and that is what they'll be eating this evening. When they're done, this is their new home. Very soon, I'm going to take you in there. I have with me here the assembly member for the Ketu electoral area. I'll be talking to him shortly. But let's speak to this woman who has been living here for the past 4 days. The community center has been a home for the past 4 days. Tell me. Yeah. Aleke no leji aleke micho afiano.
Lenya tafama. Ai achia demia. Mitang poto para kanemia tano. Ta ai ova ko mblanina mia yoba mi vano. Community center fiata mi yabe afa mi wu ma wi atonga ka mi ama wo mi la fia mo poto ho va na mi agbo aba yo va na ya tafe mi la afia ta ayagba o va po mi ni cho va po mi agba ho ga va po mi a o jin viara vena vo ma nyengunya adaja funa mi be wo kovina mi be iho gaka mi kweno akan mo ya boto no jagbagba mi an ala mi wa mi abasu na jambela ba doro fara kama galifia mi yimo.
Okay. Well, essentially what she's saying is that now they do not have anything to do. They are just here with their children, and they need help to survive. But let's get inside with the assembly. Now let's get inside and speak to the assembly member for the Ketu electoral area. Let's give you a sense, an idea of what this place looks like. And this is the community center, and this is where I'm told 15 families, 15 families, 10 families, 15 families, I'm told, sleep. Not really completed, but this is where they're sleeping, and this is the water they've been using. You can see the water in the basin. So the women and children sleep here in this community center. And in fact, that is the only bulb here in this community center. In fact, let's take a look at what is also here. So women and children sleep here. And these are some of the relief items that they got earlier today. Okay, so the assembly member for the electoral area. Okay, so these are the relief items you got today.
These are some of the relief items we got today from NADMO.
Yeah.
Earlier around this 5:30 dusk. Okay. We brought it.
And we can also see the rice, the rice, and then the cooking oil also in there. Now, these relief items were distributed to 3 districts affected by the high tides here. Now, the 3 districts, we're talking about the Ketu South municipality, we're talking about the Keta municipality, and then we are talking about the Anlo district. We spent most of the time at Salakofe, but this afternoon we learned from the NADMO deputy director that Salakofe is not the hardest hit, actually. He tells us that the Keta municipality is the hardest hit. Now, so this is a place where women and children also sleep. That room I showed you is another place to sleep. So you can see that mosquito nets. A woman I spoke to earlier at the distribution ground for the relief items told me that she had 7 children and they sleep in these mosquito nets. They're waiting outside and they'll be coming. So some people sleep on this hard bench, no mattress whatsoever. This is what they sleep on. Today they got a mattress from NADMO. Hopefully, they'll have a soft bed to sleep on today. But these are all mosquito nets. Some of the women have 3 children and they sleep here with them. Most of the men actually do not sleep here in the community center. Okay, so this old man sleeps here. Okay, good evening. What is it like? I mean, what is the situation like here in this community center?
Oh, me got a map for me. I carry me. I got a map here. I make a uncle, some man like a uncle. You never had a camera affair.
No, I fear no our family.
If you know of him, what you la America, I never girl a PVG call.
Okay. Well, he says their homes are still flooded, and this place is a better alternative to their home. And so they feel better staying here than being in their homes because their homes are still flooded. So, what's happening here? What's here?
What? Somebody and his husband, he's here.
Wait, somebody and his husband sleep here? Let me see. So how many children sleep here? So a man and a wife.
Woman and one of their grandchild.
One of their grandchild.
Yeah.
And they sleep in this small room.
Yes.
And I'm sure you gave them this room because, I mean, it's a man and a wife. Well done.
To give them some little comfort.
Yeah, little comfort and some kind of privacy. Okay. So, there's another one here.
Husband and wife.
Husband and wife.
A wife and children, and about 4 children.
And about how many children?
4 children, so there were 6 in here.
Okay, so let's have a look.
And this where they are sleeping.
And this is where they sleep.
And this is where they are cooking.
Okay.
This is where they cook.
Where do they cook? I don't want to step on the bed.
Oh no, don't worry.
So this is where they cook? Okay, so there's still some cooking going on here. Hi. I spoke to you earlier when we were distributing the relief items. You cooking for your mother?
Yes.
Okay. Tell me, what's the situation here like?
Mosquito is around, but the place is not comfortable for us.
The place is not comfortable? Yes. I've been in there for like 5 minutes and I'm sweating. You can see beads of sweat all over my forehead. It's so hot in there. How do you manage to sleep?
Oh, just like that. We use mosquito net to sleep and use the net and the bed, that's all.
And where do you bath?
In the house.
In the house? Okay, you go home to go and bath?
the water.
Yeah.
Well, so Ernest, that is the situation here. But before I hand over to you, Ernest, let me find out from the assembly member. You've seen the conditions here.
Yeah.
Clearly not the best for the residents, but many of them say they are enjoying it because this is better than their homes, which is, currently flooded. What do you make of this place, this community center?
I appreciate the former MP, Honorable Richard Kwashiga, for giving us this facility in the first place, because it is the only safe haven we have now. Had it not been that we have this building of this facility here, it means our people wouldn't have a place to sleep. Then maybe they have to sleep on top of my roof. Anyway, they are not in the best of the conditions. But we are grateful for the relief items brought in today by NADMO, through the efforts of myself, the MP, and the MC, and all other stakeholders involved. So at least for now, they have, especially the people living in the community center, they have been given some rice, oil. So
we've seen all of that. But finally, tell us about the extent of devastation caused to Keji Copper. Tell us, what is the extent of damage caused?
Let me say, upon my check, according to my book, the research we made right now, we are having about 101 just for, now we have about 101 houses we've captured, not households, just the houses. And then checking the household, we are getting, since the fishing community, about 7 to 5. The least we got was like 5, except the person is single, before you know that he's living alone. But homes are flooded. They can't sleep in there. I'm even surprised some are saying they are bathing in the water there. Again, people's businesses. Some of them are piggery. About 50 pigs. They can't find some of them.
Some of the pigs have been washed away.
Duck, poultry of duck, and then fowl have been all displaced. Some have drowned in the water. Some people have vegetable farms along the belt of the coast, also washed away. So a lot of people are stranded.
So finally, do you think the relief items that you got today enough for them?
No. Hopefully inadequate, but half a loaf is said to be better than none. So we appreciate the little we have, but we pray benevolent individuals, stakeholders who should come to our aid, and we need more food, especially in shelter where we can get tents. If you can get some tents, because we have a reclaimed land, you can relocate some of them to the reclaimed land temporarily till the water goes back. Then maybe they can come, because their ovens, their fish smoking ovens are all drowned, so they can't smoke fish. They can't do anything. So they can't do anything.
Source of livelihood gone.
It's gone. They can't do anything business. Today they cast the net. They have to go and pick the net back, because dragging it, the sea was washing it away. So since their energy is not enough to pull it, they have to pick it out and land it back.
Okay, thank you very much. Well, Ernest, so heartbreaking things we've seen here at the Keji Copper Community Center, but at least there's still some silver lining in the thick cloud that we're seeing here. People are still able to smile, because at Salakofe in the Ketu South municipality, there were no smiles. It was all tears. Since morning when we were there. But the people here, although conditions not the best, they seem to be a bit okay. Ernest.
Maxwell, thank you very much for bringing us up to speed on the situation there. Great job there. But one agency we are forgetting all of this is the Meteorological Agency. Joseph Portifi is a marine meteorologist and Deputy Director, Ghana Meteorological Agency. Thank you very much, sir, for your time here on Joy News Prime. How will you describe the situation at Keta, the incident there? Was it an event that you expected? Hello, Mr. Portifi. Well, we seem to have lost connection to Mr. Potifi. He'll be joining us shortly because the Meteorological Agency plays an important role in all of this. We seem to be forgetting them as far as this incident is concerned. These waves are things that they also study and would ordinarily give updates to the people. Once we get him, we'll bring you details. But still on this, the Vice Chairman on the Finance Committee, Patrick Yawabuaje, has charged government to immediately make available the needed resources to begin the construction of the sea defense wall around Keta and its environs. According to him, this will go a long way to mitigate the impact of tidal waves affecting residents living in those areas. His comments follow the demand by the minority for urgent governmental intervention to address the recurring tidal waves, which has displaced thousands of residents. We'll hear shortly from the Okaigwe Central MP. But before that, here's the Whole West MP, Mano Bedra, who raised the issue on the floor of the House with a call on government to expedite the provision of relief items to the affected residents.
Yesterday, in the company of my colleagues, we visited the affected communities. And Mr. Speaker, it is heartbreaking to see homes that we visited just 3 months ago down the line were all washed away, demolished completely by the sea erosion. Mr. Speaker, this calls for urgent attention by the government. Right, Mr. Speaker, those affected communities amounted to about 1,200 people from the NADMO's calculation, and over 500 houses were all demolished. As of yesterday, when we were going around, Mr. Speaker, we did not receive any intervention either from NADMO nor from the central government. And people were made homeless, sleeping either in church building, and some people do not even have places to sleep. No, as it were, mattresses, no blankets, no any logistics given to these people. And as we speak now, nothing has gone to this community or to the affected people in the community.
The Okaigwe Central MP, Patrick Boama, who described the situation as sad, appealed to government to readily make funds available.
It's really a sad situation in those three constituencies, and it calls for immediate government intervention, Mr. Speaker. I listened to the news this morning. About 15 communities were affected, and from the news bulletin, NADMO had not visited those communities as at yesterday. The tidal waves along the coastal belt, which is about 500 kilometers across this country, that is from the Anlo side of the country to Alubo, ought to be given the requisite attention, Mr. Speaker. I read today's Times and the graphic, and I read that the minister was making a pledge on behalf of government that government will have to raise funds to complete the 8 kilometers of coastal sea defense or coastal protection within that enclave. I know Amandi did the phase 1, and the phase 2 is about 8 kilometers, which has to be completed. So as a house, we call on government to take urgent steps to save life and property and to look for the money to protect the good people of this country who live along the coastal belt.
The Ketu South MP, Ablaji Fagumashi, who spoke passionately on the floor, also called on the president to listen to the cry of her constituents.
In March, when this happened for the first time under my tenure as the Member of Parliament for the constituency, I heard the comforting words that he has just reiterated. In May, I heard the same expression of commiseration. In November, I'm still hearing those words. It's traumatizing to hear it repeated so often. It will be appreciated if some action is taken. Mr. Speaker, I didn't cry only because I have enough tears. I cried because of the with for roads, for works and housing. I will went to the same communities with His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama. And yesterday when I got there, those homes were all gone. All I saw were piles of rocks, as remnants of what is left of people's homes. I imagined what would have happened if it was my home.
Meanwhile, the Kati MP, Kwame Gatpe, is also asking government to declare the affected areas as a state of emergency.
There is nobody from Western Housing official visited the victims. Interior Ministry, nobody from the office, the ministry, go there to see how the people are faring. But today, they have the temerity, the locus to come and tell us that tidal waves have been there before this one, before I became MP. What is that? In fact, I'm highly disappointed in the leader for intruding that state. Today, the president will be traveling to Cape Verde to go and witness presidential swearing-in. When the people of Keta, the coast, are devastated, instead of a government who should take prompt action and visit the people, they are going to ceremony. They are going to ceremony to go and, climate ceremony. When people are dying, emergency, state of emergency in Keta, South, and then Anlo should be declared. But here we are. The relief item is supposed to shift. Nothing is happening. And then we are raising these germane issues, and then you say that this has been happening long ago. This is not. In Keta, there are some communities like Ketu for more than 40 years. They have.
Apologies for the poor quality of sound. Let's go to Zoom now. Joseph Potife is a marine meteorologist and the Deputy Director, Ghana Meteorological Agency. Thank you very much again for joining us. I just want to find out from you how you describe the incident there, and was this one that you expected?
Thank you for having a good evening to your listeners. Yes, the incident there, it culminated into three things, in the sense that, one, we have a storm passing there, and also already the place is a low-lying area. It's about less than 6 meters above sea level. And then thirdly, we have high tide and low tide. So when the system was coming, it came with a strong wind on the ocean, and that developed into a lot of swells. That turned out to be a storm stage. And when a storm stage is coming, some can be as high as 5 meters, 10 meters. So depending on what happened, it will overflow the land, because the land actually is, as I said, it's less than 5 meters above sea level. And that's what happened last Sunday.
And we know that the GMET observed these issues to inform the residents, especially those along the coastal areas. Was that part of your daily alert?
Yes, it's supposed to be part of our daily alert. But that day we issued a weather warning at 11:30 that a storm is coming. And we also issued a marine forecast. But we could not calculate the storm surge, the meters that it will rise for this thing to happen. And I believe next time we need to look at it and see whether we can be able to do that thing also. That is why we didn't add to it. But we're able to give the significant wave height, and that we said it will be dangerous. Once it's dangerous, it means the wave height will be more than 2 meters. And if it is more than 2 meters, we call it as dangerous. And we give it to the farmers as the fisher folks as a 3. So when they see 3, they know that it is dangerous. When they see 2, it is rough. When they see 1, it is calm.
Thanks for the education, but why were you not able to calculate the extent of devastation this time around?
Yeah, the storm, it's a storm surge. It's just like hurricane coming. Storm surge can occur with hurricanes, tropical cyclones. And the volume of water that is carried along, the wind, if there's a depression also there, it will create more havoc. The wind and the kind of water is carried, that one I can't tell you we can calculate it. No, we cannot. And there is no way we can also do that. what we can only do is that, yes, there's a significant wave height which is going to be high above a certain threshold, and people to take cautious. I believe on Friday, I spoke in one of the stations. I said there are systems developing. The system have moved into the ocean. So all our fisher folks along the coast should be on their guard. When they see a storm, they should look at it and refer it to their previous happiness, and then make sure that at least they advise themselves.
Mr. Possibly, do I hear you say that this is not scientifically possible to calculate? Is that what you are saying?
What I'm saying is that, yes, for the volume of ocean that the wind, the storm surge is coming, there is no way I can calculate it. I don't think, even if a storm is coming in the US, the only thing they can tell you is that it's coming with this speed, and once they tell you the speed and the volume of water. That's the only thing they can tell you. But they cannot tell you how extent. It's just like what happened in Tokyo when they have a tsunami and it is coming. And first they calculated that with 2 meters. At the end of the day, it rise up to 10 meters and destroy a lot of things. So we are not there yet, frankly speaking. But this one, we saw it. A storm surge in the sense that it coincides with the high tide. And once it's coincided with the high tide, definitely once there is a lot of swells coming in.
And did I hear you compare this to a tsunami?
I am giving an example of a tsunami. It is the same thing of tsunami. Tsunami, okay. You have an earthquake in the sea that pushes the water, and the water swells down. And when it swells down, we call it surge. It surges down. And when it surges down, it comes with ripples and waves. And it is the height of the waves that bring the destruction. And the same thing happens in Keta, as we investigated yesterday and today. That yes, there was a storm, and the storm came with a strong wind. So it was developing as a storm surge. And the storm surge, unfortunately, because the place already is vulnerable, when you go to certain areas along the coast, their altitude is about 36 meters. Some of them are about 60 meters.
Okay.
But here the altitude is less than 5 meters. Ada is about less than 5 meters. Accra itself is less than 10 meters. So when you have a little surge, which is more than 5-10 meters, definitely it will run over the land.
And Mr. Potivi, just before you go, the channels of communication, how is this done so that regardless the fact you're unable to calculate the extent of devastation, once you know that the people can expect some sort of a storm, how are you able to, how do you communicate it to the people so that they could salvage their property and save their own lives?
Fortunately for us, the media houses are our mode of communication. And also we work in tandem with the NADMO and some of the security services. So, as I said, the issue happened, we saw the system around 10 p.m. But fortunately for my forecasters, they were able to be on guard and issue a weather warning. But trust me, at that time, which of the media houses will pick that thing and broadcast it? You can check. I think, Joy, you have our weather warning for Sunday around 10:30, 11. You can check what is there. That is 6th of April. The sea will be rough, very rough. It is there. So we give it to you, and then you have to publicize it for us. Because for us, yes, we need to protect life and property. But the channels that we use are one, the media houses, NADMO, and the security services.
We'll leave it here for now. Thank you very much. That's Joseph Potifi. He's a marine meteorologist and also Deputy Director, Ghana Meteorological Agency.